Environmental issues continue to be a significant concern in today's world. We are facing a lot of environmental problems such as climate change, water pollution, and biodiversity loss. But our greatest assets in fighting this don't just lie in having a sustainable technology or green buildings, but more likely with the help of journalists who report about environmental story. So, let's find out what exactly is the duty of journalists who report about environmental issue and how they can make a difference in maintaining the environment we all share.
When we talk about the environment, you must be thinking about all the common stuff associated with covering natural disasters, climate change-related emergencies, or ecological crises. Journalists are expected to report on these events promptly to the public to make them well-informed. It might be quite difficult to work as an environmental journalist, however, it would be beneficial for you to cover the topic if you know the basic guideline and had done some own research beforehand, particularly when reporting on local environmental issues.
Okay, if you're talking about environment specifically, I would say a couple of things you need to check. It would be helpful for you to check before you go and visit the site that people are probably complaining about. Number one is that it's helpful for you to know what is the local government in that area. Is it Shah Alam? Is it Kajang? Is it Ampang Jaya? Is it Kuala Langat? So that will give you an idea, okay, who should I reach out to if I have further questions. So, and then secondly, you also need to know what is the type of activity that is being done there. Is it paper manufacturing? Is it furniture making? I mean, what is it? Paint making?
Understanding the respective local guideline is essential when dealing with local news. As mentioned by Farid, it will be really beneficial to the journalists in terms of framing and developing the story in which they are working. Having reliable sources is essential for accurate information, insightful perspective, and promotes balanced reporting in news article. Without them, news reporting would lack both credibility and the essential element of being newsworthy. But how do journalists approach their sources? What should we do if the source is hard to reach? According to Farid, he usually asks his colleague who has the contact of the sources. Another way is to email the sources, which require the journalists to introduce themselves and briefly explain the story they are working on. Journalists must not report a story one-sided and give the chance to the sources to respond upon the issue involved.
If they don't respond after a certain amount of time, you have to come up with a report, because you cannot withhold the report permanently. Number one, because you are, after all, in the media business, so you have to, after a certain time, you have to output your product. That's number one. Number two, the issue doesn't go away just because the authorities refuse to respond. So you will put in your report one line that says, okay, we have reached out to so and so, but they have yet to respond to requests for comment. So that line is important because it tells your readers that you've done your due diligence. It's just that they have not responded.
To all aspiring journalists, do you receive any important information from the sharing? I hope you do. But do you realize that reporting about environmental issue in Malaysia can be a quite sensitive issue? Let's find out the reason why.
Suzalina Khalid, a journalist from Berita Harian, said that covering environmental stories is quite a sensitive topic in Malaysia. The journalists need to be extra careful and prudent as the issue is closely related with the government policy.
Kita punya sasaran berita, kita punya target, orang kata mesej yang nak disampaikan bukan pasal kita nak merosakkan image company ke ataupun apa-apa, tapi kita fikir dari segi aspek alam sekitar. Macam mana kalau berlakunya pembangunan di kawasan atas puncak bukit ke atau puncak gunung dan sebagainya, dan dia punya kesan limpahan tu kan, penduduk sekitar akan buat komplain kan, dan kesannya macam tu lah banjir kilat dekat especially kawasan bandar ni kan.
Journalists who write on environmental topics should never lose sight of the goal of their reporting, which is to inform and enlighten the public about the topic at hand. In their writings, they don't seek to pinpoint blame, but rather to guarantee that any associated issues receive the attention they deserve. Recently, Suzalina had covered the issue of forest reserve encroachment in Selangor and Kuala Lumpur, which required her to act wisely because this issue involved with many authorities. According to Suzalina, this issue of invasion is not a new issue. In fact, it has been going on for decades.
Kalau kita tak dedahkan benda tu, dari situ awareness orang awam kan. Orang tak tahu, orang ingat hutan je orang explore kan semua. Jadi antara salah satu matlamat ni mungkin nak create awareness dalam kalangan orang awam sebab bila kita dah keluarkan story tu kan, kita buat set interview dengan pengarah Perhutanan Selangor. Dan pengarah Perhutanan Selangor pun akui ada trend pencerobohan membabitkan aktiviti hiking, pendakian. Benda-benda macam tu lah. Diorang mungkin tak aware. Diorang ingat, ada hutan, kita naik je. Padahal hakikat ni kalau hutan simpan kekal, kena apply permit RM5 untuk sebelum boleh masuk. Kalau saya memang kalau boleh, mana-mana media pun, mana-mana wartawan pun kalau boleh, once dia expose satu isu tu, dia akan jumpa titik nokta kan, ada impact story tu, mungkin untuk menambah baik dasar-dasar kerajaan ke apa. Tapi itulah macam saya cakap, kadang-kadang di pertengahan jalan ada wahyu-wahyu daripada arahan pihak tertentu supaya hentikan story tu, jangan main lagi story tu. Macam benda tu pun pernah berlaku dekat saya kan. Jadi tapi untuk saya, as long as saya dah tunaikan tanggungjawab saya untuk dedahkan apa yang berlaku, untuk niat untuk mungkin nak tambah baik, untuk orang peka supaya tak semudah-mudahnya orang kata membuat pembangunan di kawasan sensitif ke atau sebagainya kan. Jadi itu pun dah rasa dah kepuasan dah.
Speaking about environmental issues, it involves more than simply nature. It is a complex system that does not respond like a person in a reciprocal relationship. Environmental journalists have occasionally come to our ad and brought attention to the issues, but things didn't always turn out as planned.
The case that the story that I wrote about, it wasn't resolved. It wasn't resolved because the factory is still there. Of course, number one, you want to help resolve the issue, but sometimes it doesn't happen that way. But at least by you reporting it, it creates awareness, so that number one, if this happens elsewhere, people who read that story will know what to do, who to reach out to, what they have to do in order to make sure it doesn't happen in their place. Number two, it keeps the authorities in check. So the next time they want to do something like this, they will think twice. They will say, okay, no, maybe not, because then the media will be all over us, and we don't want that kind of bad publicity.
Farid stated that discussing environmental concern goes beyond pollution. Adding the element of human interest is more impactful by focusing on the victims who suffered as a result of the problem.
Alam sekitar ni akan ambil masa sebab kita pergi sana tengok, kena terbangkan drone untuk tengok kawasan mana yang tercecah semua tu. Dia bukannya sekadar angkat phone. Kadang-kadang orang kata reporter paper ni print based on call, kita boleh buat story, tapi alam sekitar tak boleh. Kita kena tengok sendiri, kita kena buat tinjauan, tengok apa yang dikatakan terancam tu, bagaimana keadaan dia kan, macam mana keadaan pokok tu.
Journalists who report about environmental story deals with a variety of issues. Although it might be quite difficult and expose you to many challenges, but they continue with their effort to raise awareness among the public with a great enthusiasm and spirit. Without them, some issues just go unnoticed without any further action from the right authorities or individual. Let us save the environment, save the world. I'm Najihah. Thank you for watching.